Every trader talks about the market, but few ever talk about the mind. You've studied charts, back-tested strategies, memorized patterns, and still the market humbles you. Not because you don't know enough, but because you don't feel steady enough. Every time the news hits, you react. Every time price spikes, you chase. Every time volatility explodes, your plan disappears. And you tell yourself it's about timing or analysis or the system. But deep down, you know the truth. It's not your strategy breaking, it's your psychology. This isn't another lesson in entries and exits. This is about mastering the storm within. Because the real battle isn't on the screen. It's in the space between impulse and patience, fear and focus, chaos and calm. Today you'll learn to see the market differently, to feel differently, to trade differently. This is your training ground, your mirror, your awakening. Welcome to Mind Over Markets, where we don't chase trades. We master ourselves. You sit in front of your screen. The chart flickers like a heartbeat. The numbers pulse in green and red. Your breath slows, your hand hovers over the mouse. And then a headline flashes across the newswire. Inflation data, CPI, non-farm payroll. Whatever the word, it hits your brain like a spark. And before you realize it, your heart rate doubles. You tell yourself this time will be different. This time you'll be calm. You've read the data. You've marked your levels. You've planned your trade. But when the candle explodes, everything inside you shifts. You no longer see the chart. You see opportunity. You see fear. You see the echo of every missed move, every false entry, every stop out you ever took. You feel the market pull you in. You hesitate. You chase. And within seconds, the same thing happens again. A violent spike, a sudden reversal, the whipsaw, that invisible hand that punishes hesitation and greed at the same time. You sit back staring at your screen, wondering how you fell for it again. It wasn't your strategy that failed. It was your psychology. Every trader has felt this storm. Every trader has been trapped in that same 60-second war between logic and emotion. You think you're fighting the market, but you're not. You're fighting yourself. The whipsaw is not just a pattern on a chart. It's a mirror. It reflects every unchecked emotion you've ignored, every unhealed wound from your last loss, every illusion of control you thought you had. When you chase a move that's already happened, what you're really chasing is closure. When you revenge trade after a fake out, what you're really seeking is redemption. The market doesn't care about your redemption. It doesn't care about your pain. It only amplifies what's already inside you. That's why you can't outsmart a news whipsaw by predicting it. You can only master it by mastering yourself. Because during high volatility, the game doesn't test your system. It tests your state of mind. And if you're not grounded, if you're not centered, you'll always move at the wrong moment, not because you don't know what to do, but because your brain refuses to wait. The truth is simple. You are not trading price. You are trading emotion. Price just happens to be the mirror that shows it. You see, your brain was never designed to handle uncertainty in real time. When the chart moves violently, your nervous system interprets it as danger. Your amygdala, the same part of your brain that responds to physical threat, fires up instantly. It floods your body with cortisol. Your breathing shortens. Your focus narrows. And that's when you start reacting, not thinking. In that state, you can't follow your plan. You can't trust your setup. You can't even remember your rules because your brain isn't trading anymore. It's surviving. That's why the market always feels faster than you during news events. It's not the market that's fast, it's your emotions that are unprepared. You can't beat the whipsaw by reacting faster. You beat it by learning to slow down. Slow is not weak. Slow is powerful. Slow means your mind is clear while everyone else panics. Think about it. In those seconds after a news release, thousands of traders across the world are doing the same thing. They're staring at the same candle, feeling the same rush, and yet only a few remain still. Only a few know that discipline is a weapon, patience is an edge, and emotional control is the highest alpha. You don't need to predict the move, you need to predict yourself. Because every time the market fakes you out, it's showing you a part of yourself you haven't mastered yet. The impulse to act, the fear of missing out, the refusal to wait. That's what destroys consistency, not lack of knowledge, but lack of control. The professional trader doesn't avoid volatility. He studies his reactions to it. He knows that fear and greed will always exist, but they don't have to drive him. He uses structure to protect his psychology. He defines risk not to avoid pain, but to contain it. He respects uncertainty instead of trying to dominate it. And that's what separates the professional from the emotional. Not intelligence, not strategy, but self-awareness. The market is a mirror. It reflects who you are, not what you know. And when news volatility hits, it doesn't change your personality, it reveals it. If you panic when the market moves, it's not because you're weak. It's because you've never learned to sit with uncertainty. You've never trained your nervous system to stay calm when your P&L flashes red. You think peace comes from control, but in trading, peace comes from acceptance. Acceptance that you can't control what the market does. Acceptance that sometimes doing nothing is strength. Acceptance that patience is not passive, it's preparation. The trader who survives the whipsaw isn't the one who reacts the fastest. It's the one who can watch chaos unfold and still trust his plan. You don't fight the storm, you learn to stand still in it. You've been taught to read charts, to recognize patterns, to understand volume, price, action, market structure, but nobody taught you how to read yourself. Nobody told you that your biggest losses would come not from bad setups, but from good setups traded in the wrong state of mind. The real game is not on the screen. It's between your ears. It's inside the voice that whispers, "Don't miss this move." Inside the emotion that pushes your hand forward before your brain even agrees. You see, every whipsaw is just a reflection of that internal conflict, the battle between logic and impulse patience, and panic wisdom and ego. And until you win that battle, no strategy will save you. You can change your indicators, you can rewrite your plan, but if your emotions remain untrained, every setup becomes a trigger. The truth is, you're not addicted to trading. You're addicted to the feeling of possibility, that electric rush of maybe. Maybe this trade will fix it. Maybe this candle will be the one. Maybe this time you'll catch it perfectly. That maybe is dopamine. It's the same chemical that drives gamblers to spin one more time. It's not the money that hooks you, it's the anticipation. And when the news hits, dopamine floods your system before your brain even finishes reading the headline. That's why you click. That's why you chase. That's why you feel alive for a moment. But the crash always follows. Because what goes up emotionally must come down psychologically. The spike fades, the market reverses, and you're left holding the weight of your own impulse. In those moments, the pain isn't just financial. It's existential. You start questioning yourself. You feel shame, anger, regret. You replay the move in your head like a broken record, trying to understand how you lost control again. But here's the thing, you didn't lose control. You never had it to begin with. You were chasing control through reaction instead of finding it through awareness. The whipsaw isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. Every time it shakes you, it's asking, can you stay still when others panic? Can you watch opportunity pass without chasing it? Can you detach from outcome and stay loyal to your process? Those who can ascend, those who can't repeat. Most traders are trapped in a loop. They win. They feel invincible. They lose. They feel broken. Their confidence moves with their equity curve, but confidence that depends on outcome is not confidence, it's ego in disguise. You have to build something stronger, something internal, a belief system that doesn't collapse after one losing trade. That starts with awareness. Awareness that emotions are data. They're not the enemy. They're signals, messages from your subconscious telling you what still controls you. When you feel fear before a trade, it's not fear of losing money. It's fear of reliving pain, fear of proving yourself wrong, fear of not being enough. And when you feel greed, it's not just desire. It's the illusion of control, the fantasy that this one trade will finally validate you. You have to break that illusion, because the moment your identity depends on your performance, you're no longer trading the market, you're trading your self-worth. Detach from outcome, attach to process. That's the shift. When you detach, you stop needing to be right. You stop fighting the market to prove yourself. You stop chasing perfection and start practicing consistency. Because perfection is an illusion. Consistency is power. And consistency doesn't come from control. It comes from surrender. Not surrender to the market, but surrender to your own humanity. You will always feel emotion. You will always have impulses, but you don't have to obey them. Mastery is not the absence of emotion. It's the awareness of it, the ability to see it arise, name it, and choose not to act on it. That's emotional discipline. That's trading psychology. You can't meditate your way out of adrenaline. You can't affirm your way out of fear. You have to train your nervous system through exposure. That means sitting in the discomfort of inaction, watching the chart move without reacting, letting the urge pass without giving it power. At first, it feels impossible. Your body screams for release. Your hand twitches toward the mouse. Your mind invents reasons to justify entry. This is a signal. This looks good. This could work. But deep down, you know it's emotion disguised as logic. If you can stay still long enough, something shifts. You begin to see patterns not on the chart, but in yourself. You realize that the market isn't random. It's rhythmic. And your emotions follow that rhythm too. The same surge of excitement, the same moment of hesitation, the same wave of regret, over and over again, until you learn to recognize it, until you see the pattern within your own psychology. That's the real breakthrough. When you stop analyzing price and start analyzing your reactions to price. Because the edge isn't in your indicators. It's in your self-control. There's a reason why the best traders in the world look bored on volatile days. It's not arrogance, it's mastery. They've felt every emotion you're feeling now, fear, greed, frustration, hope, and they've learned that none of it helps. They've learned that the less they feel during a trade, the better they perform. Not because they've become numb, but because they've become disciplined. Emotional neutrality is the highest form of confidence. It means you're no longer attached to outcome. You trade your plan. You accept uncertainty. You adapt without emotion. That's how you beat the whipsaw. Not by predicting direction, but by mastering reaction. Slow the mind, breathe between decisions, detach between trades. Your value as a trader isn't measured by how often you win. It's measured by how little the outcome changes you. If a win makes you euphoric and a loss makes you broken, you're still a slave to emotion. But when you can lose with clarity and win with calm, you've graduated from the emotional casino into the professional arena. Because trading isn't about conquering the market. It's about conquering yourself. You've heard it before, trading is 80% psychology. But what they don't tell you is that most traders never train that 80%. They chase new setups, new indicators, new mentors, but they never confront the real opponent, their own conditioned mind. Every time you enter a trade impulsively, you strengthen a neural pathway. Every time you break a rule, you reward that behavior with dopamine. The brain doesn't care if the result is pain or profit. It only learns repetition. So if you react emotionally again and again, that reaction becomes automatic. It becomes who you are behind the screen. To change your results, you have to rewire that response, not by willpower, but by awareness and repetition of discipline. The same way you trained yourself to chase you can train yourself to pause. The pause is your new edge. It's the space between stimulus and response, between reaction and reason. That's where professionalism lives. That's where your power hides. When the news hits, most traders become prey to speed. They think speed equals skill, but in truth, speed without awareness is chaos. The professionals are slow. They watch, they wait, they let the market show its hand. Their calmness is not passivity, it's precision. So here's how you begin to reprogram your mind. First, slow down the input. Limit your screen time. When the market is hyperactive, you don't need to watch every tick. You need to watch yourself. Second, narrate your emotions. Say it silently when you feel it. This is fear. This is greed. This is the urge to control. When you label the emotion, you separate from it. You become the observer, not the prisoner. Third, rehearse your reactions before they happen. Visualize the chaos of a news event. See the price spiking, the fake breakout, the rapid reversal. Then imagine yourself calm, breathing slowly, waiting, observing. No chase, no panic, just presence. The brain can't tell the difference between rehearsal and reality. So the more you practice stillness in your mind, the easier it becomes in the moment. Fourth, redefine success. Stop measuring it by profits and losses. Start measuring it by your behavior. Ask yourself, did I follow my process? If yes, then you won. Even if the trade lost, you won. Because discipline is the only metric that compounds forever. And finally, learn to forgive yourself. You will make mistakes. You will relapse into emotion. You will chase a move you shouldn't. And that's okay. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's how you reset your nervous system for growth. Every mistake is feedback. Every loss is data. Every trigger is a teacher. When you start seeing your pain as information, it loses its power to hurt you. The market can't break what it can't control. Remember, discipline is not a personality trait. It's a habit of awareness. You train it like a muscle through repetition, reflection, and recovery. Each time you resist an impulse, that muscle grows stronger. Each time you remain calm through chaos, your identity upgrades. You start seeing yourself not as a victim of volatility, but as its witness. That shift changes everything. Because when your identity changes, your decisions follow. You stop asking, how can I win more trades? You start asking, how can I trade with integrity? You stop chasing the move. You start protecting your mental capital. And that's what separates the few who last from the many who burn out. The amateurs trade for excitement. The professionals trade for peace. The amateurs need movement. The professionals need alignment. The amateurs worship the outcome. The professionals worship the process. If you want to be among the few, you must learn to love the boring, to fall in love with waiting, to find satisfaction not in the trade itself, but in the discipline it demands. Because real mastery feels quiet. It doesn't thrill your nervous system. It doesn't flood you with dopamine. It feels calm, measured, balanced, almost dull. But that dullness is freedom. That dullness is control. That dullness is profit disguised as patience. When you can sit in front of your charts and feel nothing, no fear, no greed, no urgency, you're not detached from the market, you're connected to it on a higher level. You see rhythm where others see randomness. You see structure where others see chaos. You see yourself clearly for the first time. And in that clarity, trading becomes something else entirely. It stops being a battlefield. It becomes a mirror of your growth. Every candle, every pullback, every news spike, they're not threats anymore. They're opportunities to practice presence, to practice patience, to practice mastery. You realize that winning trades don't make you a winner. Losing trades don't make you a loser. Your reaction to both defines you. The trader who can smile after a loss and stay humble after a win, that's the one who lasts. Because consistency doesn't come from controlling the market. It comes from controlling the self that meets the market each day. The whipsaw will always exist. Volatility will never disappear. But your relationship with it can transform. You can learn to breathe when others hold their breath. You can learn to see opportunity in stillness. You can learn that waiting is not wasting time. It's creating clarity. So when the next news event hits, when the candles explode, the headlines flash, and the world starts reacting, remember this. You don't need to join the chaos to profit from it. You only need to remain the calmest person in the room, because calmness is contagious. Clarity is rare. And in a sea of noise, focus is your ultimate advantage. You are not here to chase randomness. You are here to master rhythm. You are not here to prove anything. You are here to practice everything. Every chart is a test. Every tick is a teacher. Every day is another chance to refine your edge, not by changing your tools, but by deepening your awareness. When you understand that trading stops being a struggle for control, it becomes a journey of transformation. And maybe that's what you were really searching for all along. Not the perfect entry, not the perfect system, but the version of yourself that can stay centered in the middle of uncertainty. The version of yourself that can see chaos and remain composed. The version of yourself that no longer needs to win every trade to feel worthy. Because the ultimate goal of trading isn't freedom from work, it's freedom from fear. When you reach that point, you'll realize something powerful. The market was never against you. It was always guiding you inward. Every spike, every whipsaw, every loss was a lesson in awareness. A mirror showing you who you are under pressure. And once you master that reflection, you'll never fear the news again. Because you'll know the whipsaw doesn't break you. It reveals you. You've walked through the chaos. You've felt the rush, the fear, the regret. You've seen how easily emotion takes over when volatility hits. Now it's time to see the other side, the stillness that waits behind awareness. You see, every trader wants freedom, but they misunderstand what freedom is. They think it's money. They think it's winning. They think it's being right. But freedom has nothing to do with those things. Freedom is when you no longer need the market to confirm your worth. When you can sit in front of a moving chart, feel the wave of emotion rise inside you, and yet choose stillness, that's freedom. When you can take a loss without attacking yourself. When you can let a move go without feeling left behind. When you can walk away from the screen without resentment or fear of missing out. That's freedom. True mastery isn't about control. It's about trust. Trust in your preparation. Trust in your process. Trust that what's meant for you will come and what's not meant for you will pass. The undisciplined trader lives in resistance. He resists waiting. He resists loss. He resists uncertainty. But the professional learns to embrace them all. Because in every loss, there's data. In every pause, there's power. In every uncertain moment, there's the opportunity to practice control. You cannot eliminate fear, but you can befriend it. You cannot eliminate doubt, but you can understand it. You cannot eliminate emotion, but you can observe it until it loses its grip on you. That's what the market teaches, not perfection, but presence. Not certainty, but awareness. The chart is just a mirror. Every green candle, every red spike, every fake breakout, they're all reflections of your internal world. When the market is chaotic, it shows you your chaos. When the market is still, it invites you into stillness. And when you finally learn to stay still within yourself, you stop needing the market to cooperate. You stop chasing every headline. You stop flinching at every move. You stop fighting every whipsaw, because you realize the market isn't against you. It's just revealing what's unhealed inside you. Every time you lose control, you discover where you're still reactive. Every time you hesitate, you see where fear still lives. Every time you overtrade, you expose the parts of yourself that still crave validation. Awareness is the cure, not a new system, not a new mentor, not a new setup. Awareness. Because once you see your patterns clearly, they start to lose their power. You begin to recognize them in real time. You catch yourself before you click. You breathe instead of react. You wait instead of chase. You respond instead of panic. That's how emotional mastery is built, moment by moment, trade by trade. You start to notice the gap between impulse and action. And inside that gap, you find freedom. You realize that every trade is an opportunity to practice being who you want to become: patient, disciplined, calm, confident, consistent. That's what trading really is, a training ground for character. The market is the most honest teacher you'll ever meet. It doesn't reward wishful thinking. It doesn't care about your excuses. It only mirrors your readiness. And the beautiful thing about this game is that mastery is available to anyone. You don't need special access. You don't need special talent. You just need the willingness to face yourself every day, to look at your weaknesses, your patterns, your triggers, and choose awareness over reaction. You do that long enough and something profound happens. You stop needing to predict. You stop needing to control. You stop needing to be perfect. You start to flow. You enter the zone that every trader dreams of, where decisions feel effortless, where losses don't sting, where wins don't inflate you. You're just present, calm, grounded, flowing with the rhythm of the market like a dancer with music. That's the highest level of trading, not financial, but psychological. Because when you master your mind, the market becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. It's no longer a battlefield. It's a mirror of your balance. So when you hear the next headline, when you see the next CPI release, the next FOMC statement, the next unexpected surge that sends everyone chasing, remember what you've learned. You don't have to react. You don't have to join the crowd. You don't have to prove anything. You are not your P&L. You are not your last trade. You are not the noise on the chart. You are the awareness watching it all unfold. The goal isn't to eliminate the storm. The goal is to become the calm within it. So breathe, wait, watch, trust, and trade with presence. Because the moment you can stand still while others panic, you stop being part of the crowd and you start becoming the market's observer. That's where the real power lives. That's where real consistency begins. That's where the noise ends and clarity begins. You've been chasing control through prediction. Now find control through surrender. You've been chasing freedom through profit. Now find freedom through peace. When you master yourself, the market can do whatever it wants and you'll still be okay, because your center doesn't move with price. Your value doesn't swing with volatility. Your identity doesn't depend on outcome. And that's when everything changes. You stop trying to beat the market. You start flowing with it. You stop reacting to emotion. You start responding with awareness. You stop fearing the whipsaw. You start seeing it for what it truly is: a test, a teacher, a reflection of your growth. The storm still rages, but now you're standing in the eye of it, calm, clear, unshaken. This is where the trader becomes the master, not because he conquers the market, but because he conquers himself. The whipsaw doesn't break you anymore. It shapes you. It humbles you. It refines you. And in that stillness, you find what every trader has been searching for: since the first chart was drawn: clarity, confidence, and peace. This is what it means to trade with presence. This is what it means to live with awareness. This is what it means to have a mind over markets. You've seen the storm, you've felt the noise, you've faced the chaos that comes with every headline, every price spike, every fake move. But now, you know what most traders never learn, that control doesn't come from prediction. It comes from awareness. The whipsaw will come again. The market will test you again. The same emotions will try to pull you back into reaction. But you'll remember this: you've trained your mind to pause. You've trained your breathing to slow. You've trained your identity to stay still when everything else moves. Because real freedom isn't when the market calms down. It's when you do. So the next time volatility hits, don't fight it. Observe it. Trust your process. Trade your plan. And remember, you are no longer here to survive the storm. You are here to stand still inside it. This is your edge. This is your calm. This is your evolution. You don't just trade markets anymore. You embody mastery. You embody patience. You embody presence, because now you understand the greatest trade you'll ever make is the one between chaos and control. You've just witnessed the mind behind the movement. And this is mind over markets.